so I'm back this week. What started out as being something simple that I wanted to do kind of turned into something a little bit more extensive. What I had planned is I wanted to get rid of the red on the axles. So basically get rid of the cover, the diff cover, and the shock mounts. So that's how it started. And then after looking at diff covers and stuff like that, I came across something that I decided I was going to go and change the axle. So this week what I'm going to do is, let's see, I got a bunch of stuff here I got to find. Alright. Okay, so like I said, I came across the product from SSD. This is a Pro 44 axle case. So I believe they're a little bit more scale than the stock ones. They don't have the red on them. The center section is plastic, but the outer tubes are metal, and they don't have the lockouts on them. So, like I said, they are a little bit more scale. All I want to do is change the diff covers and the shock mounts, but it kind of escalated to this. So now I believe the diff cover in here is plastic, but they make, oh, I got more parts here. Do I have one here? Okay, so I also have the metal diff cover for that, front and back. Here's the front axle, same thing. Then I got the diff cover, metal diff cover. So what this is going to do is, not only is it changing it and making it a little bit more scale, getting rid of the red, but it's also adding some weight because they are part metal. I also have from VANQUISH shock mounts in black. And for the rear axle, I picked up the VANQUISH rear axle shafts. So, got a set of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rear axle off that I have now, minus the wheels and tires, and I'm going to weigh it. Then I'm going to build the new rear axle, the Pro 44 axle, and I'm going to weigh that. Do one. I'm going to do the back one because obviously it's going to be easier. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to weigh it up, and then I'll do the front one off camera and show you everything when I'm done, and I'll weigh the front one also. Front old one, the front new one. Alright, so I got the rear one off, all stock. Obviously all the links and everything off of it, but we're going to weigh this up and see how much it weighs. So then when we're done with the new one, we can see how much, if there's a difference in weight at all. So it looks like it's 3.9 ounces. Alright, so I got the gears, the bearings out of the old axle. That's all I'm going to be using because obviously I'm using my VANQUISH axle shafts. So the one thing I will say about this one, obviously for maintenance it's going to be a little bit more work because the diff cover bolts straight onto here. As with the Axial one, the diff cover unscrews with 4 screws. This has 8 screws holding it. So obviously maintenance a little bit extra work, but yeah, we're gonna get this together and let's see. So these just fit in like this. Get them going the right way. So that's that. Then you get to put screws in them. So put these M3x5s to hold the tubes on. I can tell if this case has a little bit more plastic in it than the Axial one, because of the way the Axial one's made. Obviously, this needs a little bit more plastic to hold the diff cover, but you kind of see, and it's probably just to hold the diff cover. You see how, and then you can see right there, there's a little bit more plastic in this areas where it holds the diff cover. So, but I'm hoping it adds a little bit more weight to the, obviously to the bottom, to the lower part of the truck. But we'll see once we get them all together. Right. So that's basically that. Alright, so that's together. Now we'll get the gears in here. So I'm going to drop this gear in, I hope. Alright. Maybe? Let's see. It doesn't say, but I feel like I don't know. Yeah, that don't fit there. That's a tough one right there. To get this bearing to seat in there is a little tough. It is tight. That bearing definitely does not seat down in there. Not easily anyway. So that's an issue. That can't be how far it goes. That thing's got to go in way farther than that, right? One is in there, but it's not even straight. Alright, let me see if I can adjust it with this. There we go. It just wasn't in there straight. So let me get the main gear in here. The rest of that grease on there. Oh, I lost the bearing. Alright. So all the stock gears just drop right in. And like I said, this one has the metal gearing, the metal bearing holder. So let's figure out how they go. There, it should be like that. And like that. So get this all seated down in here. Let's see what holds those in. M2.5 by 8. Guess these big beasts. So that'll hold that in. These are pretty big. Let's see. Now I'm gonna get this diff cover. The one thing about the diff cover, it does have a bunch of screws in it. I'm not even showing it, but it also has these little round horseshoe type things, and they actually go into those areas in there, so they actually click in. So alright, let's get one of these screws started here. Alright, and get one across where it started. I'm gonna get the rest of these in and be back. So just gonna get these axles in, and then we got to put the shock mounts on, and then we'll weigh it up and see if we change the weight at all. So like I said, these are the VANQUISH axles. Alright. Slide the bearing down on them and lose an axle on the other side. Alright. So all these do, instead of the lockouts, these cap right over the end here. Hold the bearing in there. So get this axle in here and this bearing. Come on. On there, and Scale's at 0. Wow. It was 390. Now it's 630. So I have the front axle off. I'm going to weigh the front axle now. I'm going to weigh the front axle with the tie rod on it, with the you know, the steering rod on it, and then when I build the new one, I'll weigh it the same way. So this weighs 6 ounces. So here it is. Basically, I got it together to where I had the old one I took off. So I'm going to weigh this one now to get the weight of it. Scale, come on. Alright, so here we go. So there it is. It's at 8 ounces. Alright, so I got it all done. I tested everything, make sure there's no binding or anything like that, no rubbing, no weird noises. Everything seems fine. Obviously I gotta get out and run it. One thing I did notice with these axles, and I'm not positive it has all to do with the axles, but like I said, I did put the Vanquish shafts in the back, and the rear axle is so much tighter. I mean, there's no more slop, no more movement in the axle itself. These things, when I put the wheels on, when I was messing with the hubs, you could see that the wheels could move a little bit. Now, I mean, they're just super tight, and inside all the axle here, the bearings are super tight to get in there, so everything is nice and tight with this rear axle. You can see the front one. I mean, front one there's not much either, but I know for sure the rear one had a lot of slop. Somebody actually commented and said I should put some shims in there, and then when I was getting the axles, I picked up those Vanquish shafts, which probably have most to do with it because they're super nice. So, but all that tightened up, and obviously the weight too, you can definitely feel it a little more planted. I think we're looking at about 2.4 ounces in the back and 2 ounces up front axle weight. I'm probably down the road going to add C-hubs and knuckles, aluminum ones, to this. And yeah, but I got all the red gone. You can see the rear axle. Definitely liking the look of it, all black. A little more scale. Happy with it. The front one you can't really see because of the steering, but definitely liking the look and the feel of them. And I think that's it for this week. Hopefully we'll be back next week with a video. I think this bumper has to go. I just can't stomach the look of it, unfortunately. It just doesn't work for me. So, see if I can find a bumper or something. Maybe we'll do that next week. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming back. Hope you enjoyed my little project that turned into a major project, basically.